Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashoda Nandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Advaita Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare. जय विश्वपाद ब्रह्मंस परिव्रजकाचार्य अष्टवत शतदशनाम स्वामी श्री प्रभुपाद की, अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की, नामाचार्य हरदास ठाकुर की, ग्रंथराज श्रीमद्-भागवतम की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय, ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। Hare Krishna. So this morning we are reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 2, Chapter 10, is entitled as Bhagavatam is the answer to all questions. Verse number 30. Nididhyasoratmamayam, Nididhyasoratmamayam, Hridayam nirabhidyata, Hridayam nirabhidyata, Tato manaschandraiti, Tato manaschandraiti, Sankalpaha kama evacha, Sankalpaha kama evacha, Nididhyasur atmamaya, Hridayam nirabhidyata, Tato manaschandraiti, Sankalpa kama evacha. Nididhyasaratmamaya, kama evacha. Nididhyasaratmamaya, Hridayam nirabhidyata, Tato manaschandraiti, Sankalpaha kama evacha. Matajis. Nididhyasur atmamaya, Hridayam nirabhidyata, Manachandraitim, kama evacha. Word to word translation. Nididhyasaha, being desirous to know. Atmamayam, own energy. Hridayam, the location of the mind. Nirabhidyata, was manifested. Tata. Thereafter, Manaha, the mind, Chandraha, the controlling deity of the mind, the moon. Iti, thus, Sankalpaha, determination, Kamaha, desire, Eva, as much as, Eva, as much as, Cha, also. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki. When there was a desire to think about the activities of his own energy, then the heart, the seat of the mind, the moon, determination, and all desire become manifest. Please repeat after me. When there was a desire to think about the activities of his own energy, then the heart, the seat of the mind, the moon, determination, and all desire become manifested. Purport. The heart of every living entity is the seat of the super soul Paramatma, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Without his presence, the living entity cannot get into the working energy according to his past deeds. The living entity who are conditioned in the material world are manifested in the creation in terms of a respective inclination inherent in them, and the requisite material body is offered to each and every one of them by the material energy under the direction of the super soul. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita 9.10. When therefore the super soul is situated in the heart of the conditioned soul, the requisite mind is manifested in the conditioned soul, and he becomes conscious of his occupation as one is conscious of his duty after waking up from the slumber. Therefore, material mind of the living entity develops when the super soul sits on his heart, after which mind, the controlling deity, moon, and then the activities of mind, namely thinking, feeling, willing, all takes place. Activities of mind cannot begin without the manifestation of the heart, and the heart becomes manifest when the Lord wants to see the activities of the material creation. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshushanmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namah. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tasajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamsha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpataru Vyasya Kripa Sindhu Vyayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So this is a very important chapter, very important verse, and every chapter and every verse is important at the same time. Every chapter and every verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is equally important. Because the Bhagavatam is the literary incarnation of Shri Krishna. Literary incarnation. But Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he mentions, if all the literatures of the world are destroyed, and if only, what? If only Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and Bhagavad Gita are available, that is sufficient for the people to have knowledge and survive. That's what Srila Prabhupada quotes his spiritual master in the translation of the, anyone knows? In the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. In the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, Srila Prabhupada writes this. When I was doing my Bhakti Shastri, I was struck. अरे अभी तो गीता चालू नहीं हो गया, प्रभुपाद जी इंस्ट्रक्शन में इतना स्ट्रांग लिख रहे. And this chapter is entitled as Bhagavatam is the answer to all the questions. Bhagavatam is the answer to all the questions. And those who are not very intellectually sound, for them these chapters will be like unit test of the school, you have unit test and you are not prepared for the exam properly. When the teacher is covering the portion, you have not given attention. And then you know that unit test is there and you have to give that test. What is your situation? When you have to read about the creation and explain, that is the situation. It is so amazing. The details of creation. This is, even Prabhupada's scholarly purports is so beautiful. Even in this one single purport, one single sentence is so scholarly. And this purports, this section, they explain about creation of, and then even in the third chapter it will come. And there is so much, there is, like Ananta Chintya was explaining the other day, day before yesterday, in the morning Bhagavatam class, that how from Krishna, Lord Balramji manifests. So Balramji, Kshatriya was manifest, Shankarshana, Pradyumna, and then Narayana, then from there, second Kshatriya manifest, and then from Mahavishnu, three Vishnus, they manifest. Then Mahavishnu, and then Garbhodakshay Vishnu, Shirodakshay Vishnu, and all of their activities. And then Brahmaji is manifesting from one of them. And then Krishna is going as Paramatma in everyone's heart. Till this much, devotees can very easily understand. Then it comes, the sound came into existence, the air came into existence. So I was discussing with Nitai Madhaprabhu. I said, Nitai Madhaprabhu, how can we understand this? Because we see a complete manifestation of ears, eyes, nose, thinking, everything from the womb of the mother of a child. Here it is mentioned, the Lord thought the ears have manifested. The Lord thought the heart manifested. How do we understand? He told me, Prabhuji, this is just to explain It's just because people are in the imagination world, Only by the mercy of Guru and Gauranga in an advanced stage, one actually relishes this also. But it is very important. The Virata Rupa. Virata Rupa doesn't exist in the spiritual world. It doesn't exist in the spiritual world. But for the people in the material world, they only bolte na chamatkar ko hi namaskar. Isn't it? Chamatkar ko hi namaskar. So that 11th chapter, universal form, 11th chapter in the Gita, universal form chapter in the Bhagavad Gita, all the chamatkar will be namaskar there, Our thought process stops when you read about the universal form. And this Shri Gonitay ki, Shri Radha Madhav ki, Shri Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maya ki. And specifically these verses are actually answers. This mentions in the Bhagavatam. Prabhupada mentions that these are answers to Pariksit Maharaj's question in second canto, chapter 8 and verse number 11, where it is mentioned that Pariksit Maharaj is saying, "O learned Brahmana, it was formally explained that all the planets of the universe and their respective governors are situated in different part of the gigantic body of the Virat Roop. I have also heard the different planetary systems are supposed to be in the gigantic body of the Virat Roop. But what is the actual position? Will you please explain?" This chapter is more or less actually replying to these sections of verses and actually replying to this question of Pariksit Maharaj. And then also it speaks about the 10 topics of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. The 10 topics of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. When I was in 2000 and, then when I was in 2005, there was Bhakti Vaibhav going on. With great difficulty, I completed Bhakti Shastri under Atul Krishna Prabhu. And then I went to read the Bhakti Vaibhav. When I moved to Juhu, then Bhakti Vaibhav was going on. So while Bhakti Vaibhav was going on, so they said in the beginning, I think Prashanta Mataji from Vrindavan had come. She just explained the 10 subject of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. After that, till now, I never opted for Bhakti Vaibhav. After that, I never opted. I said, अरे एक तो स्कूल कॉलेज छोड़ के इसको ज्वाइन किया और प्रभुपाद जी तो बोलते नामा बिना कली काले नहीं यार धर्म हरिनाम करो जियो प्रसाद खाओ दूसरा एग्जामिनेशन रूम जैसा. But eventually, when we take association of devotees, do the morning program, chant the holy name, and most importantly, with great attention, seeing into the details of our prasadam plate, and when we honor consistently for several years, our intelligence becomes awake to understand every subject of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. Today when I was referring to Sarga, Visarga, Sthana, Poshanam, I was like, these things do I know? I understand these things. But 20 years back, I thought I will never understand in this lifetime. Because I was a very mediocre in academics. Whenever I used to go, examination was there, I used to plan very nicely. Fill in the blanks, match the column, true or false, and answer in one sentence. If you calculate that, it becomes 14 marks, correct? 4, 4, 4, 4. I said, pass thi gayo. Pass ho gaya. So then, that was the approach. So, but today, now talks about this verse, speaks about heart, and material world is, In the material world, this purport, if someone reads, a materialist, even if he reads 100 times, he will not understand. If he eats 100 plates of Mahaprasad, then he will understand. But because heart is portrayed in the material world as love, affairs between a male and a female, a man and a woman. That's how the most lowest and degraded understanding is the existence and the topmost meaning in the material world. How will you explain? Only when Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is portrayed to the materialist, just like recently this movie, Mahavatar Narasimha, that showed a glimpse of love of Prahlad Maharaj. Correct? That is love. When you portray that love, people in this material world will understand. They'll get a glimpse. It is also mentioned in the Puranas that in this, yuga, it was Prahlad Maharaj's devotion. You know this? From Prahlad Maharaj's devotion to Lord Narasimhadev, to the Lord actually, was the beginning, the manifestation of prema. And then it expanded later. So, Prabhupada is writing, the heart of every living entity is the seat of Super Soul, the Paramatma, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just this one sentence, The heart of every living entity is the seat of Super Soul, Paramatma, the plenary expansion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So the Lord, Paramatma is sitting. But we always hear, when we associate with devotees, when we read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, when we become pure, Krishna will manifest in our heart. Correct or not? What do we hear? Krishna will manifest in our heart. But here we hear, in the creation only, Paramatma is already sitting in the heart. Heart is the sitting place of Paramatma. Correct? So where will Krishna manifest now? I answered this some days back. How will Krishna? Paramatma is already sitting. How will Krishna manifest now? So someone asked this question to Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj. He said, Gurudev, the Paramatma, the Lord is already sitting. How will Krishna manifest? Maharaj said, Paramatma is situated in the heart. But how many of us are realized about it, first of all? How many of us are realized about Paramatma sitting in our heart? Nobody. How many of us realize that? So he said, when you have to understand, when Krishna manifests in the heart, within Krishna is the whole creation. From Krishna is the whole creation. Not only Krishna, not only Paramatma, all the avatars of Krishna are with Krishna when Krishna is situated in our heart. Not that Paramatma is separate from Krishna. Paramatma is expansion of Krishna. All the avatars of Krishna are expansion of Krishna. So when Krishna is in the heart, everyone is there. Maharaj gave a beautiful answer. From that point I realized, oh wow. It is so amazing to understand. So Krishna manifests in the heart and all the avatars including Paramatma. But when Krishna manifests in the heart, we develop attachment to live in association of devotees. That's the beginning. We develop attachment to do our morning program. We develop that attachment that, Arey, I didn't get up for the Mangalarti. I'm not chanting my rounds nicely. That is the glimpse that the Lord is being kind and He's revealing His presence in your heart. Otherwise, not possible. In this material world, not possible. All these things to wake up. Not at all, And to even perceive things, not possible. Like for example, if you say that the Lord is lying in the milk ocean. Radha Shyam used to tell us this, in the initial days, very sweet way of his telling. अगर आप बोलोगे किसी को भौतिक जगत में कि भगवान क्षीर सागर में सोए हैं, तो इमीडिएटली लोग सोचेंगे कि अरे दूध का सागर 100 रुपया लीटर दूध है, कितने लीटर से सागर बना होगा? How many liters of milk we must have purchased to make that ocean? Immediately our mind goes into that direction. Now the next sentence. Without His presence, the living entity cannot get into working energy according to the past deeds. Without His presence, so how much we depend on the Lord, you see. Working energy according to His past deeds. Which means your form, your body. The living entity who are conditioned in the material world are manifested in the creation in terms of respective inclination inherited in them, and requisite material body is offered to each and every one of them by the material nature. So respective inclination. Whose inclination? Our inclination. You understand this word's very important sentence. According to our respective, Prabhupada is using such a wise word. In the material world, what inclination we have to enjoy material world? Our respective inclinations, inherited in them. The requisite material body is offered. So according to our desire, the material body is offered. But today in the material world, people have no idea of these things. Anyone dies in this material world, everyone wants to send them to Vaikuntha only. Isn't it true? प्रभु जी आप कुछ ऐसा प्रार्थना करो कि भगवान के पास पहुंच जाए मेरे पिताजी का माताजी का आत्मा डायरेक्ट. Isn't it true? Correct or not? Direct. आत्मा किधर चले? वैकुंठ चले जाए डायरेक्ट. And then for that they will do the whole puja and vidhi. क्या क्या करना आप बताइए. हम जो लगेगा हम करेंगे. 11-13 दिन का पूजा में जो लगेगा हम करेंगे. Correct? And they don't know why the terva is there. Terva होता है कि नहीं? Anyone knows why the terva is there? Huh? After that new body is given. But in the 13 days what happens, that nobody knows. हाँ? पर्दों का हिसाब होता है. करेक्ट. और क्या होता है? This is the point nobody knows. The higher planetary system, the time calculation is not the earthly planet. So it is said the process of taking the soul there and coming back in the higher planetaries, Devalokas and the other higher planetaries or lower planetaries, this is fraction. It goes to Yamrud, Chitragupt to give his verdict and Yamraj to give the final decision. The whole process takes 13 days. But there the soul weeps and cries and beats his chest to Yamraj. That how the family is depending on him. How his presence is so important. And after 13 days when he comes back here, he only finds his photo with a garland and with a plate of the food item which he likes. And the world is going on very peacefully without him. दुनिया भाई चल रही है उसके बिना. The world is going on without him. And then he weeps and cries and then he understands अब तो जाना ही पड़ेगा चलो. Then here Prabhupada writes, inclination, respective inclination, inheriting them, requisite material bodies offered to each and every one under the direction of the super soul. Under the direction by the laws of the Lord. This is explained in the Bhagavad Gita, Maya Dakshina Prakriti 9.10. When therefore the super soul is situated in the heart of the conditioned, the requisite mind manifests in the conditioned soul, and he becomes conscious of his occupation as one is conscious of his duty after waking up in slumbers. Therefore, the material mind of every living entity developed when super soul sits in the heart. So, you see, even actually these all words, these all sections of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after we read Gita, after we hear the pastimes of the Lord, after we are so beautifully attracted by the devotee and devotion, actually we can very easily fall prey to Maya. Very easily fall prey to Maya. If we are not very philosophically, very strongly situated. Sentimental approach or emotional approach to the Leelas, sometimes you hear something, tears from your eyes, and after that you go and fight like a cat and dog for a property, All that happens in the material world. But when you hear these sections nicely, you understand our insignificant position. Our insignificant position. We know we are there, we situate, but living entity, the mind of the living entity develops when the super soul sits in his heart. So the mind which we are very proud of, the intelligence which we are very proud of, it develops when the super soul sits in the heart. That's when it develops. Imagine how much we depend upon the Lord for every activity. After which the mind, the controlling deity, moon, and then the activities of the mind, namely thinking, feeling and willing, takes place. After this, after the Lord, the activities of mind cannot begin without the manifestation of heart. And the heart becomes manifested when the Lord wants to see the activities of the material creation. So how much, even when the Lord wants to see the activities of the material creation. Such Prabhupada's purports are so important. If you read again and again, word by word, sentence by sentence, you understand how Prabhupada told also, I came to write these books. Srila Prabhupada, once he mentioned, I never wanted to, he was disgusted for something. And he said, I never wanted to come to this material world. But Krishna sent me to write these books. It is talking so much of a heart. It is very important to understand spiritual subject. It is for a sadhaka to be conscious. A part of good association, heart of gratitude is very important. Heart of gratitude is very, very important. Many times I have seen devotees, they very externally take up Krishna consciousness and they miss the very important aspect of gratitude and they fell into imitation. Imitation, no? Sentimentally falling is called imitation, right? Imitation. Imitating advanced devotees. Imitating senior devotees. I remember when I was a New Bhakta in Pune. So Radheshyam Prabhu used to be our hero. And he had a certain way of dancing, If you see now also he dances the same thing. And many of our devotees used to see him and dance in the same way. And he has certain words he uses. If you're surprised, oh really? Oh my God. Aja. Even now he's like that. I remember some of the devotees, I used to call them, talk to them, Prabhuji, this. Oh really? Oh my God. Devotees used to imitate him. Devotees would imitate Radheshyam Prabhu. But you cannot perfectly. Actually, ideal should be following, not imitation. Following. Like, I remember Aishampu used to, those days, I don't know now, he used to chant 64 rounds on Ekadashi. And many leaders used to chant 64 rounds with him. So once I did, I also tried. I went and chanted. 7 hours I chanted. Out of that, 5.5 hours I was sleeping. 5.5 hours. Then the next Ekadashi I tried. Then I went for 4 hours book distribution. That worked for me on Ekadashi. That worked for me. Then I understood imitation doesn't work. What I picked up over a period of time was the spirit which they carried, my seniors. From Radheshyam Prabhu, one thing which I will never forget in my life is decision making for devotees. In 2005, he introduced this Gauranga Sabha and Nityananda Sabha kind of things. So we had kind of a first or second Gauranga Sabha camp. So it was for the students who were going to join the temple. Now, we, the new brahmacharis, new bhaktas, were also sent for this camp. So we all went for the camp. There were like 100 students. The current president, Revatipati Prabhu, was actually the student at that time in the camp. So we were some 15 brahmacharis, 20 brahmacharis, English new bhakta group. That was Hindi new bhakta group. The camp was in English, so English new bhakta group went. So the camp got over and there was Ishtagoshti. So when Ishtagoshti was going on, so Radheshyam said that there was a lot of complaints from the managers that the Hindi Gauranga Sabha devotees were jumping into the tempos which was carrying prasadam for the camp. They were hiding behind the buckets to go and attend the Gauranga Sabha camp. So they were very eager. So those days, Bal Govind Prabhu, Chaitanya Charan Prabhu, Murari Prabhu, Akinchan Krishna Prabhu, Shamrup Prabhu, and Sundar Sham Prabhu, Shri Guru Charan Prabhu. These are by the Radheshyam Prabhu's frontline saffron crew, kind of a thing. They were taking classes. And to hear from them, people would go mad. So all these Hindi brahmacharis also wanted to hear. So they would all jump. So Radheshyam said, see, ये हिंदी भक्त लोग को भी बहुत इच्छा है. They also want to go and attend Gauranga Sabha. So why don't we do one more Gauranga Sabha for Hindi youths, and Hindi brahmacharis can go in that. So then Radheshyam asked that when we can do. So all these youth preachers together, they all were giving their timings. And in their timings it was concluding for next 3 months. All of them, 7, 8 of them are not available. Next 3 months. They are not available. The camp got over 1 day before. And next 3 months they are not available from the coming week. So Radheshyam asked them, did the vehicle which is winding up has come back? They said no, let the vehicle be there. He asked them, next 3 days all of you are available? Then they all said yes. He said, do one thing, today evening start the camp, send everyone there, let the vehicle of wind up be there, let all the brahmacharis go today, relax, tomorrow onwards, next 3 days, Hindi Gauranga Sabha. Haribo! I was shocked to his decision making. Because all these leaders were going, I am in Suratkal, then I have a camp in Kharagpur, then I am here. So he asked, next 3 days what? Next 3 days we all are here. Those senior leaders were tired already. But his decision making was amazing, amazing. I was very moved. Anyways, the point I was trying to say is that imitation doesn't help. We have to see the qualities in the leaders. Observe them deeply. What in the line of Srila Prabhupada's teachings, preaching spirit, detachment, and exemplary, and applying the philosophy, how that is happening. It's very important to see that and take those principles and apply as what you are. But if we get into taking those details and trying to force them as a principle, it becomes a very superficial spiritual life. That is why at one point I decided that the movement is going to go 10,000 years. The person who has told that is already there, given in how he wants the movement. He has written it, he has exemplified it. At one point I decided that let's go next 10,000 years the way Srila Prabhupada wanted. That is Prabhupada Leelamrit and Bhaktivedanta Purport. That's it. Nothing beyond it. Like Srila Prabhupada, very, very spontaneous. very practical, and very, very charismatic. Like when devotees were jailed in Australia. So, Australia or US? Madhu Dvisa Prabhu writes to Srila Prabhupada, Australia. The Madhu Dvisa Prabhu writes to Srila Prabhupada and it says that we are all jailed, 10, 12 of us. The lawyer is, they put a case, very serious case of brainwashing, and the lawyer is telling it is going to cost approximately $700 or $1,000 for each devotee to get a bail. Prabhupada wrote back, that is too expensive, he said. We cannot spend so much money. Do one thing, continue the same activity which you are doing outside, inside the jail also. And devotees started doing Mangalarti, Guru Puja, Gaur Arti, Bhagavatam class and preaching in the jail. Then the jailer made a big complaint. He said they are more dangerous inside because they are going to convert our ruffians and robes and thieves into devotees, into their followers. So better release them. Without bail they were released. Without bail they were released. So it's very important that we all keep up the Sankirtan spirit. And to keep up that, it's very important, as I said. Even if you don't understand these verses, some of you who are very new, you will feel a little discouraged. Samajh nahi aa raha hai mere ko, right? Huh? Am I right or not? So you don't have to worry because we are in the golden yuga. What is that? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is. Mahaprabhu's mercy is so amazing, you just have to do one thing. Mridanga. Nama vina kali kale nahi yar dharma. Nama vina kali kale sarva mantra sar nama. Hey Shastra Marma. Hey Shastra Marma. Prabhu tumi jivera. Mangal chinta kari. Mangal chinta kari, Kali yuge nama sange, Swayam avatari. Yuga dharma prachari mo. Nama Sankirtana Pracharile Nama Sankirtana Mukhya Pata Jiva Paye Krishna Prema Dhana Jiva Paye. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we don't have to worry, we are in the golden age. Even if you don't understand some things, You don't have to wait for 20 years. You can relish Sankirtan now, because Nama bina kalikare nahi ara dharma. In the holy name, everything is there. So just by chanting the holy name, being in association, taking prasadam, everything will manifest. But one very important aspect every individual has to work towards, that is being sincere. We all come from different backgrounds. Before coming in association of devotees and in bhakti, we may have a very dirty life or a very non-Krishna conscious upbringing. But if I come in association devotees, if we are sincere, that is one thing. We are talking about the heart. Krishna sees that one thing, that if he is sincere and if he is accepted by my pure devotee, the Guru Parampara, the Parampara, never think that they are in the photo, just to look at them and what. The Parampara uses us with their purity in Krishna's service only if we have sincerity. What to speak, to be born or to be associated with Srila Prabhupada's ISKCON, that crosses all the boundaries, because Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's magnanimity is there, but Srila Prabhupada's Sankirtan spirit is beyond everything. Even a new bhakta can go and win the world. That's the Sankirtan spirit Srila Prabhupada has given. And that spirit should not be compromised. Whatsoever. That spirit of Sankirtan. And how do we achieve that? Being sincere towards our sadhana. Being very sincere towards reading every day. Being very, very sincere towards looking at ourselves. Never compete with others. Always compete with yourself. Always think what I am lacking and how I can improve that. That should be a quality of a devotee. Every devotee is a universe within himself. The material nature is designed in such a way, we always be disturbed outside when we see. But always see within. And try to compete with yourself. Follow Vaishnava etiquettes very sincerely. I always feel that maintain the spirits of 70s. Learn the kirtans of 70s. You see Bhagavatam classes in Srila Prabhupada there. How they are chanting the verses. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Like that. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. You seen early days classes? And someone is reading the purport. When there was a desire to think about the activities of his own energy, then the heart, the seat of mind, the moon, the determination. This is how Prabhupada's disciples read. Have you checked that? Kabhi sunai classes, you see how they read. How they read the purports. As absolute truth. As absolute truth. Without an inch of doubt. Not that, and Prabhupada used to say that our devotees are dancing at 4:30 a.m. in the morning. He said. Our devotees are so happy, they're dancing. That's such a big meaning. Who can be happy at 4:30 a.m. in the morning, waking up, But our devotees dance and chant, and you see, they do it for years together. Even if you're a rich person, you give him 1 more crore rupee and tell him attend Mangalarti and dance for 1 month. He will give you 5 crores, tell him leave me, maaf karo. Only by higher taste you can do that. But you should do it with so much enthusiasm. The material nature has so much negativity. So much negativity. This body is also horrible. The material nature and this body and our mind together, 4:30 a.m. and it will put you into depression. 4:30 a.m. Sansara dava. Yesterday he did this with me. Today I have to do this. And if I don't get that, what will happen? 4:30 a.m., 5 a.m. we are disturbed. We are not able to relish the beauty of the deities. The details of it, rather than his fingers, her dress, her color, her smile, her eyes, Krishna's beauty, Mahaprabhu's merciful, magnanimous mood, Patita Pavan Shri Jagannath. We are not able to contemplate that in the mind, because mind is disturbed. Mind is disturbed. You should always be very happy seeing the deities. Devotees should always have a smile and dancing People in the world should see us and see, I want to be like this. Or what is it that making them so happy? That is the thought people should come. Immediately they should come, get when they meet us. When they meet us, each one of us have to be like that happy. Never get dull in spiritual life. Never get dull. Always fight with the dullness of this material nature. Mind will always, after one has taken up Krishna consciousness, the biggest weapon of mind is to depress a devotee. Reminding him about his conditioning, reminding him about his disqualification. And devotee should, "Hut! I have nothing to do with all this. Yes, I am the most fallen, but I'll sincerely practice to progress." That should be the devotee's fight back to the mind. Otherwise, you'll get depressed and completely, you are in association, but repeatedly beaten by Maya. That's why humility, with sincerity, humility is very important. Never forget the basics. Always, once, one of my very favorite Shiksha Gurus, in Pune they call counselor, but I call him Shiksha Guru, Shamru Prabhu. Once one Grihastha had come to temple to take prasadam, and there were some rules that they have to take a coupon, and the coupon person was not available. So there was some delay and he practically started going. And the manager was very strict that coupon nahi hai to prasad nahi de sakte, ye to rule hai, kya kar sakte, like that, So Shamru Prabhu called him and he told him, he said that the grahasthas who live outside, what a challenge they have to live. Some of them, they come to the temple, and the only hope for the peace in the material world is the association, prasadam they get in temple. These coupons and all these things are details, so that there is no chaos. The principle is that the mercy should go to everyone. Imagine if he doesn't get prasadam and he goes, what he will carry for rest of his life. Go and bring him from the gate, and then this devotee went, brought that grahastha from the gate. He was not a devotee, new devotee I would say, and then took him for prasadam. So compassion, understand? Compassion, very deep thought, this kind of thought, not that we are devotees, all others are conditioned soul and they are suffering in the material world, and actually we are devotees. That's not compassion, that is arrogance actually. We should think, we are so fortunate that we have got this opportunity, and we should be an instrument to give this opportunity to others, and that is what our life is meant for. That's how we should think. Our life should be meant to give this opportunity. That is why I am wearing this clothes and putting this tilak. That's how it should be. Otherwise, instead of being in a war with Maya, we will be accepting defeat before the war begins. Just by the mind. Just by the mind. That's why the spirit of 70s, always try to make a point to hear the kirtans of 70s, hear the lectures of 70s, read the letters of Srila Prabhupada, understand Srila Prabhupada's decision making, and then try to keep that spirit. Because nobody can question that, and it will go for 10,000 years. Right, Nitai Madhapu? Nobody can question that. I have lived that. Once one Grahastha came to me, and he has few daughters, and he was like, and he spoke to my wife, and my wife explained, my husband doesn't do any work, he just does preaching, and he is maintained by preaching. So that devotee has many devotees sometimes, what business they have, they will come and preach the other grahasthas, that my business will help you to settle down financially, and then you can do only bhakti. It doesn't happen. Neither he is settled, neither we will ever get settled. There is no settlement in the material world dealing. There is no settlement. So he called me and he told me that, no, आप क्या कर रहे हो? कैसे होगा बच्चों का? फिर क्या होगा? फिर क्या होगा? फिर ऐसे कैसे होगा? प्रभुपाद ने बोला है क्या? Then I asked him one question. You have to take care of the children, you have to make house, You have to, each son you should give one house. Your responsibility is to get them married. And then all this thing Bhashan he gave me. I told him, show me one place in Prabhupada's purport. He says what you are saying. Just one sentence I told him. Show me one purport of Srila Prabhupada where Srila Prabhupada is telling that a missionary who has dedicated his life to the mission has to do this. Prabhupada is mentioning dharma everywhere. One has to, but when it comes to missionaries, you tell me where Srila Prabhupada is giving such instruction in his letters, in his conversation, and in his purpose to his devotee. The devotee took few minutes to understand what I said. That devotee, he took few minutes to understand what I said. Then he asked me, you have faith? I said, that's the only thing I have. After that, for next 5 years, whenever he met me, he smiles, Hare Krishna. With the eyes, we answer each other, He doesn't talk to me at all. With the eyes. That's our faith is our biggest asset. Srila Prabhupada ki. Antara Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki. Any questions? The devotee was also telling me that घर बनाना, बोला I told मेरे बच्चों को उनके किस्मत में अगर घर लिखा है तो घर उनके पास चल के आएगा, और जो घर उनका नहीं है, भाड़े पे भी है, खुद का भी घर हो, रजिस्ट्रेशन तो इधर होता है. ये बहुत बड़ा चीटिंग है. घर थोड़ी कोई लेके जाता है, घर तो इधर ही छोड़ के जाते हैं. बाकी लोग लड़ते हैं आपके जाने के बाद घर के लिए. Correct, no? Others are fighting. Even when you are not died, people are fighting. घर किसको जाएगा? Right? Any questions? Yes, Prabhuji. Mic दो. चिंतामणि प्रभु क्वेश्चन पूरे तो चिंतन करके पूछेंगे.
Not that serious, Prabhuji. Prabhuji said, Paramatma is already residing in our heart, and Krishna manifestation. While I was walking to the temple, I heard. That time the question came that when Lord come here, what is there in his heart? He's also come as a, in the form of man or whatever you say. Something should be there in his heart. What?
Yes. His heart is full of association. How can I associate with my devotees? Krishna, all other activities what Krishna does, he doesn't have to do. That his other expansions, like if you hear the Krishna book, only Krishna performed his most intimate and transcendental pastimes in Braja Vrindavan. Outside Vrindavan, who did? Nitya outside Vrindavan? Vyasadeva Krishna. Param Purushottam Sri Krishna. He only relishes association with his devotees. His heart is pouring how he can serve his devotees. You saw this movie? In that movie it is said, Prahlad, you have won me with your devotion. We are worried to sell ourselves out for our so-called material family and society. And Krishna is worried to sell him out for his pure devotee. That is Krishna's heart. And Gaur Govind Maharaj tells one very nice thing. That yesterday Prabhuji said, माखन का क्या करना है जब माखन चोर हमारे साथ है. So similarly, Srila Gaur Govind Maharaj mentions that Krishna is a thief. He steals our heart. And once he steals our heart, what are we supposed to do? If someone, suppose you're standing on the road and busy with your phone, and someone comes and snatches your phone and run away, what you will do? What you will do? You will run behind. So Krishna has stolen all our heart now. Whole life and lifetimes we have to run behind Krishna. That is what he does here. Gaur Govind Maharaj mentioned. Krishna has stolen our heart, and rest of the whole life, we have to just run behind the thief who has stolen our heart. I hope that answers your question. Shri Prabhupada ki.